Hey everybody, this is Pastor Bell with just a quick word. This week I want to talk about calling. When we talk about what our calling in is life, or maybe what our vocation is, we often think about what it is we do for a full-time job, what we get paid for, what we do for a living. And yet when we look at a calling in a biblical sense, in a theological sense, or just in a deeper sense, it means more than that. Even for pastors, where everyone says, oh, you have a calling to work for the kingdom of God, which is true, our callings are more numerous than that. When I was a senior at seminary, we had a bishop come and speak to us about first call and what we were going into, and he said something that stuck with me all these years. He said, listen, all of you are called to be pastors in the church. But for those of you who are married, you are also called to be husbands and wives. For those of you who have children, you are also called to be parents. For those of you who have neither, you are also called to be a sibling or an adult child of a parent, or you have other relationships that you have a calling to. And sometimes those callings outside of the church are going to be way more important than the calling to the church. And it's the same for other jobs as well. Just because you get a paycheck for it doesn't mean it's the most important thing there is. And the other callings you have in your life may sometimes need to take a priority and may make a bigger impact on the world. So maybe the most important calling you have is something you do on the weekends, on your off time, that you volunteer for, that you just do for fun. Maybe the one of more impactful callings you have is something you do just a few times a year to help out. This week we're doing vacation Bible school for our pre-K through fifth graders, and while that is part of my job and Miss Lori's job, it's also a calling for the dozens of volunteers who come and help, and they may make an impact this week that lasts far longer than the impact that they'll make at their regular job next week. Our callings are numerous and they're varied, and their importance varies throughout our lives. So just because you don't get a paycheck for something, don't think that it's not valuable. It may be priceless and so important, not just for you, but for the people that you reach and impact as well. And it may have ramifications that last long after you've left this earth. My grandfather, who passed away many years ago, was a coal miner for 50 years in western Pennsylvania. Now, that is not a job that most people really get excited to get into, that brings deep personal fulfillment or is seen as a profession. And I don't think my grandpa particularly liked it, at least he never talked about liking it. And I don't know that he got much out of it other than, the good feeling of doing a job well. But it was important because it helped provide for his wife and his children. It was important because it helped to set up the next generation for opportunities that he never had, which in turn set up things for my generation that neither ever had. And so his calling to caring for his family had a far bigger impact than what he did in the coal mine. So I say all this to help us to think a little more broadly when we talk about vocation, when we talk about our calling, when we talk about what it is we do for a living. Look beyond the paycheck and look beyond what you do from 9 to 5 and see what the other callings in your life are as well. And realize that the work you do there may be more impactful and may be more important than the work that you do for your employer. And just because you don't get paid for that other work doesn't make it any less valuable. I hope you all have a wonderful week. I hope you keep praying for Good Shepherd for us as we host Vacation Bible School this week, for our volunteers and our staff, that we all stay fairly sane and don't get too overheated outside. And I hope to see you all real soon here at Good Shepherd. God bless. Bye now.